All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are talking about the undefeated Seattle Seahawks in tonight's video. Yes, the Seattle Seahawks are undefeated, 24-3 victory today at home against the Miami Dolphins. Yes, I'm fully aware Tua is injured and he did not play. I hope he makes a speed to recovery. In fact, I obviously hope he plays in the NFL again. It's neither here nor there. 24-3. If you watched this afternoon's game, obviously it wasn't the best performance outside of like the first quarter. The second quarter and the third quarter were not great. But if you watch the first quarter of the Seattle Seahawks, you're probably going to the Super Bowl. I don't care if it was a nitty-gritty victory. I really don't care. The Seattle Seahawks could have easily won this game like 41-3, but who really cares? The Seattle Seahawks 3 weeks into the season are 3-0. I mean, that could be the video. Like, the entire video tonight could be me saying the Seattle Seahawks are 3-0 for 8 freaking minutes. Because that's all that matters. You know, it really is. And I made a Lions video earlier today, like a couple hours ago. And, you know, the Lions last year, made the NFC Championship. You guys are fully aware of the Detroit Lions. But my point just is, when we zoom out, and we fast forward, and I bring you to the Seattle Seahawks state in week 10, or I bring you to the playoffs, because the Seattle Seahawks hopefully obviously are making the playoffs here. They're well coached. They've got a great roster. If you can figure out the offensive line penalties, if you can figure out the offensive line, the Seattle Seahawks team's going to be hard to beat. None of this matters. Like, at the end of the day, it's a 24-3 victory over the Miami Dolphins. Like, you zoom back 4 months, 2 months from now, this, like, the nitty gritty part of this game does not matter. And in fact, like, the first quarter was A+ football. So before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Seahawks fans, I seriously love you. I was like deep thinking this last night because I made a Seahawks video, I think yesterday, where we were talking about Zach Charbonnet being like this kind of like secret weapon, and it's not necessarily secret, but it is at the same time, because Ken Walker's injured and he's missed the last 2 games. And yeah, I just think Zach Charbonnet is such a talented, versatile football player, no matter what his role is on the Seahawks team. And it got me thinking, like, a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, actually, at the time of this recording, pretty much 23 months ago, my third ever NFL video was a Seattle Seahawks video, and there's a long story to this. It got like 65K. I actually think it's like my most viewed Seahawks video of all time. And so I've always had this really personal bond with this Seahawks team, and I watch every single snap of every single game. I don't care who you're playing. I don't care what else I have to watch. I watch every single snap of this team. This year is so different. Like, we've said this for a couple of months now, ever since Mike McDonald was hired, ever since preseason, and now 3 weeks into the season. This team is so different in a good way. And now, obviously, penalties are exactly, the penalties on the offensive line are exactly what is holding this team back. But it's week 3, so you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They had 11 total penalties for 92 yards, and that's the reason the final score was 24-13. But for majority of the game, outside of the first quarter, it was 17-3. Seattle scored 0 points in the second. Miami scored 0 points in the second. Same thing in the third. Penalties are holding this team back, and offensive line injuries are at the root cause of it. But this team is so hungry. They're so hungry. Like, the sky truly is the limit. And just to make matters better, San Francisco I know they're depleted. Who really honestly cares? Every team's depleted, like you see with Seattle right now. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-0, and the San Francisco 49ers are 1-2. And I know we've been through this in the last 2 seasons, and I've always said since the season began, the bottom line for Seattle, either winning the division or getting a good seed in the playoffs, because you're making the playoffs, it comes down to divisional play. And so I'm excited for Seattle to go against San Francisco. But the point is, let's get into this game. Who cares? 26 of 34, 289 yards, a touchdown, 2 interceptions. A lot of the interceptions Geno has thrown this season has come down to the offensive line just not holding up. Like, I hate to bring up the offensive line, just like I hate to bring up like penalties, but at the end of the day, if you're watching this football game, like, there was no concern at any point, all 16 minutes, that the Miami Dolphins were winning this football game. And obviously, they have a backup QB. But my point is, Seattle's really good. And Zach Charbonnet this afternoon, 18 carries, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns, averaging 5.1 yards per carry. We also got to see Kenny McIntosh officially get a touch in the National Football League, which was great to see. Charbonnet, by the way, 3 catches, 16 yards. And I talked about him on my fantasy football team, which Rasheed Rice is really shafting me right now at the time of this recording, but it's neither here nor there. And also DK Metcalf, by the way, I'm playing you in fantasy football. He's really freaking shafted me today. I'm about to go 0-3 as the defending champion, but it's neither here nor there. This team is so good. DK Metcalf, 4 catches, 104 yards and a touchdown. Noah Fant, 6 catches, 60 yards. Tyler Lockett, 5 catches, 46 yards. JSN, 3 catches, 39 yards. There wasn't really much need offense passing-wise, or honestly even rushing-wise, other than just, taking time off the clock and trying to put points on the board after the first quarter. DK Metcalf had a 71-yard touchdown pass from Geno Smith late in the first quarter that pretty much sealed the game. The big deal here is going to be the defense. Rashawn Jenkins, as underrated as they come. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I moved to Tampa a couple of weeks ago. I've lived in Fort Myers, so I've kind of been paying attention to Florida football teams just because I don't live in Illinois anymore. I'm a Packers fan, so not even that matters. But my point here is this team is so good, and I'll use a great example of Derek Hall. Derek Hall this afternoon, 5 total tackles, 2 sacks, and that forced fumble. I mean, this guy's a beast. We've talked about him the entire summer. We've talked about him the entire couple of weeks of the season. This kid's a stud, and he's entering his sophomore campaign, and due to injuries, Byron Murphy, et cetera, and Wosu, et cetera, guys are stepping up. And we said this in yesterday's Seahawks video, no matter who plays or who doesn't play, this team has talent, whether you're starting or you're a depth piece. That's how good this defense is. And then you implement Mike McDonald's scheme, and it's it really is game over. I think entering this game, the Seahawks were either the first or second defense as far as PFF was concerned. And, 24-3, I think whatever that metric was, they're definitely number 1 now. Tyrell Dodson, just a phenomenal free agent acquisition that no one really batted an eye about outside of Seahawks fans. Julian Love, phenomenal player. Boye Mafe had a great football game. Jermont Jones, coming off a down season, he had 5 total tackles, a sack, including that forced fumble. Jerron Reed, including a sack. Devin Witherspoon, dude's a stud. The defense is phenomenal. And the offense, in my opinion, we've said the entire season, Geno's not losing you any football game. So I don't really know. Seattle's 3-0, and I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I have a hard time believing myself saying that Seattle won't win the division. You know what I'm saying? We're 3 games in. It's late night here. I've had a couple of pops. I get it. I'm getting a little bit boisterous. I'm getting a little ahead of schedule here. But, the point is, this Seahawks team's legit. And I don't care how ugly the second and third quarter were. The Seahawks are 3-0. Let's enjoy it. Hit that like button. Hit that sub button. Let me know your thoughts down below. And we'll see you in a day or two. Peace.